G'day everybody, you're here with NotJah Witness and the amazing Nadine Callan from Creations by Nadine. How y'all doing?
Good morning. Yay!
Yay!
It's great.
I
It's
see we
great.
got, I am going to butcher this name, but Quabina Atheist. You can kill me for that pronunciation if you want to. And an atheistic snail's journey. Love your snails, my Stassi. How you doing?
Yay! Glad to see ya.
We have decided to do a random stream, probably a quick stream, just covering our thoughts on pedophilia, basically. And it's probably an obvious target with this conversation, but to start it off, I was hoping that you could, Nadine, regale us with your story you were just talking to me about, and any detail that you might wish to share with the world, obviously.
Okay, so I used to live in Calgary, Alberta, and I had moved back to Calgary after being with a guy for a while, and I got a job at a computer tech support help desk kind of place. And there was this guy there, and I just found out yesterday morning that he was charged with child porn charges, and he ended up getting 2 years. And I had dealt with him. My biggest memory of dealing with this guy was when I was getting trained, is he kept telling me to fuck off, and I couldn't actually get trained by him. I just ended up going and walking over to somebody else, and that's actually how I found out. Is the somebody else and I are still best friends. And yesterday morning, when I was on a stream with NotJah, he messaged me and hang out, and I took off on NotJah and ended up having a chat with him, and he's like, "Isn't this the guy that we used to work with?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Anyway, the guy is creepy as heck. And he, at least that kind of explains it. But the guy used to teach youth soccer and be a part of youth, like a bunch of youth sports clubs. And it was really weird because I actually need a ride from him one day, and he ended up he had a van, and it was all kinds of, your alarm bells were going off like, this guy's creepy. And I guess I found out why yesterday. So apparently he was charged a few years ago, but I didn't hear about the charge when it first happened. So, but he got sentenced to 2 years yesterday morning, and kind of went with all the child porn, like the pedophilia stuff. And it was like I said, child porn is what he got charged with, and distributing. Thank goodness he didn't get he wasn't making it, but he was distributing it and making it available. And he pleaded to one charge, and ended up getting 2 years. So, yay. It's kind of sad, but I'm glad he's in jail, and there's quite a few opinions on what should be done to him when he's in jail, but yeah. That's about it, I guess.
The first thought I had was in regards when you were mentioning that he was he did children's sport, I'm assuming was a coach. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was a coach. Sorry about that, yeah.
No, yeah, you're right. And it just seems to be a very common trait, whether it be a coach or somebody within any other organization where they have some form of availability towards other people's children, basically.
Yeah, and it seems to be that seems to be the trend that always seems to happen. Is there, ends up being a coach or something like that. And it's really weird, and it's a sin, because that doesn't look good on the actual good people out there that are trying to be coaches and stuff like that, because it breaks down trust in them too, which is kind of sad.
And another thing when it comes to trust, excuse me, is in regards to the punishment. As you say, this guy only got 2 years.
Yeah.
And in that in itself seems rather abhorrent at how lenient it is, whereas
Yes.
at the same time, our God, I can't remember who he is now, Archbishop or some bullshit. Oh, better put that on silent,
Yeah.
I suppose. He was covering up Catholics doing their thing here for however long.
Yeah.
Really, who knows? I don't know how long it had. It doesn't matter how long or how many. It's the fact that he was covering it up
Yeah.
in the first place. But he's still only got his the punishment sentenced to him by the judge was a year in house arrest.
Yeah.
But through parole, or the other one.
Probably.
Yeah, I can't remember. Fucking hell, it's too late in the night. But yeah, basically, he'll only serve 6 months house arrest. Won't even go to jail for covering up child molestation and rape in the Catholic Church.
Oh wow.
And you just wonder, like, and I am the sort of person who I still go into my studies of criminology and criminal justice as somebody who wants to fight for the rights of prisoners who are unjustly prisoned or who have to serve terms that are or even just living in prison conditions that are too harsh, or having to serve a double punishment after they're released, for example. You've served your time, you come out, and then you have to serve another punishment. There are these cases that's undue. That's what I'll fight for. But in these cases, you look at them and go, no, that's just way too lenient. What are you doing? Like that's the other end of the extremity, and you just question their judgment completely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, you do. You do.
From
There's no way to not question that.
And you lose trust in the judicial system, the same way you would if people are too harshly punished.
Exactly. You do lose trust in the system. Like, if you can't trust the system to be just in punishments, like you said, if the punishment is too harsh for something, like getting 10 years for stealing a chocolate bar versus 2 years for pedophilia, I know it's a stupid analogy, but it's the only thing I could come up with at the top of my head. It's like the pedophile should be getting a lot longer. Like he had access to so many children, and he only got charged with 1 count. Like, there's got to be more. He's not. It's not just. It's not. Like. Yeah. 2 years for fucking up a kid's life. Like, how many kids was he sharing pictures of?
Oh, as I said, I'm not sure exactly. It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Really
like, and like it. But yeah, it's like to be getting 2 years, just fuck up how many lives? How many people's lives?
Yeah.
Seems kind of. It just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't seem right.
It's a slap on the wrist, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to try something, because I don't know if this is going to work.
Snail said they tried to...
Yeah, no, I got you. I got the link, but I'm like, I didn't realize that I needed to upgrade my program to do a web page as opposed to a YouTube page, and now it's being like, you need to upgrade. I'm like, fuck you, I don't want to upgrade. Like, so I'm trying to work out a way I can get around it. I'm thinking of taking snapshots, but that's going to take forever, and I can't go and do just a screen capture, share my screen, because that's going to give away too many personal details on my screen.
Well, did you want? Why don't you send it to me and I can
you can
like mention me in it? Yeah.
Either way, because you do that all the time anyway.
I can share my screen. Yeah. So mention my name in the tweet and.
Oh no, I'm just sharing it to you in the PM, private messaging. Or DM,
okay, yeah, that's fine
DM
too. I can open it.
You know, and then once you get that stuff open, I can open it. We can get it rolling. Thank you very much, Snaily, because that I had not seen that. I'm literally haven't read it yet, and I think it'd be interesting to read through while we do it. Or not necessarily read through it, but you know.
Okay.
Francis.
Okay, I got it set up as a full screen. Just a second here. We are going to. Oops.
Now I need to go into the old Hangouts and.
Okay, so share it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You can present yourself. We're one of those private ones where you can do what you want. So.
Yeah. So we're going to share that screen.
Chocolate.
And I just have to run back up there we go.
Hey, look
you
at
should
that.
Be seeing that. Can you see it?
Yes, we are seeing that very well.
Okay, so...
We don't see it all, though, because my screen is a bit fudged up.
Okay, so it says, former Vatican ambassador says Pope Francis Benedict knew of sexual misconduct allegations against McCarrick for years.
I can't link it.
And Dublin, a former Vatican ambassador.
Sorry.
You want me to just read it?
Yeah. yeah, go hard. You're a good reader. I'll
Dublin, a former Vatican ambassador to the United States, has alleged in an 11-page letter that Pope Benedict, the whatever number that is, and Pope Francis, among the other top Catholic Church officials, have been aware of sexual misconduct allegations against top American cardinals year before the prelate resigned this summer. The letters from Archbishop Carlo Maria Vignaga, I don't know, I'm butchering names, deal with it, who was recalled from his DC post in 2016 amid allegations that he'd become embroiled in the conservative American fight against the same-sex marriage, was first reported by the National Catholic Register and Life Site News to conservative Catholic sites. The letter offered no proof that Vignano and Vignago on Sunday told the Post he wouldn't comment further. Silence and prayers are the only thing that are befitting, he said. Asked about what he had published under his name in the Catholic outlets, Vignano said, I confirm that it is my text and that I wrote it. The letter sent shockwaves through the Catholic world as Francis prepared to speak before massive crowds Sunday at Dublin's Phoenix Park. Francis and other church leaders are facing bitterly polarized Catholic Church, and some Francis critics, including Vignago, are calling for the Pope to step down. The letter was the latest dramatic development, stemming from a fresh wave of allegation related to clergy sex abuse and its cover-up. Rumors that had swirled for decades about former DC Archbishop Cardinal Theodore McCarrick and adults exploded in June when McCarrick was accused of groping a teenage altar boy. Pope Francis suspended McCarrick, who was soon accused of sexually abusing another boy and harassing inappropriately touching Sumerians and young priests. Last month, McCarrick became the first U.S. cardinal in history to resign. Vigno, 77, was the Holy See's apostate nuncio, or ambassador in Washington from 2011 to 2016. He's been a lightning rod within the Vatican who lost a power struggle in Rome under Benedict, emerged as a Francis critic, and reportedly ordered that the halt of an investigation into the alleged sexual relations between Archbishop in Minnesota and seminaries. Vigno's letters said that McCarrick had been privately sanctioned under Pope Benedict, though only after years of warnings about his alleged behavior. The warnings that Vigno describes dealt with McCarrick's alleged behavior towards seminaries and young priests, not towards minors. Vigno's letters said in 2013 he met Francis months into his papacy and told him face to face that there was a dossier this thick about McCarrick. He says he told Francis about Benedict's orders that McCarrick remove himself from public life. McCarrick never pulled away from public life until this summer and was more of a high-profile figure after he retired in 2006, representing the church in prominent foreign diplomatic efforts in places like China and Iran. He corrupted generations of seminaries and priests, and Pope Benedict ordered him to withdraw to a life of prayer and penance. Vigno said. He says he told Francis, "The Pope did not make the slightest comment about those very grave words of mine and did not show any expression of surprise on his face, as if he had already known the matter for some time, and he immediately changed the subject."
I just want to,
Vigno also led,
just before you go ahead, was the, before for a second there, was it just so I could hear?
Probably. I can't mute him anymore. He's turned all the way down.
Oh, okay. No, I just heard this like in the background. You know, like, who is that?
Yeah. No, he's yeah, that's
Our
just
pheasant
I'm
is
sorry.
sleepy.
He's turned all the way down.
No, it's all good.
And I can't turn him up because every time he wakes up, he looks at me and smiles and then goes back to sleep.
No.
And then you can turn that off.
He's so cute. I gotta commend you as well. Like, you've just gone hard at it. I didn't expect you to actually be all like, boom, reading it hardcore. Let's go. Let's do this.
Well, I'm trying to. It's not like I'm very good at it, but I'm giving it a try.
You're doing great.
It's a heck of a lot easier than making everybody read it on the screen.
Yeah, I agree.
Vigno, and I know I'm getting names wrong, but I don't care. Vigno also alleges in the conversation that Francis told him American bishops must not be idolized. They must not be right wing. They must not be left wing. And when I say left wing, I mean homosexual. It wasn't possible to reach Benedict or his representatives right away. Francis has not commented previously about what was ever told about McCarrick, and Sunday morning, his spokesman, Greg Burke, did not respond to a request seeking comment. This summer, several clerics said they had communicated to the Vatican representatives years ago concern about the rumors and about the case of a New Jersey priest whose private letters allege his life was ruined by McCarrick's sexual behavior. The priest reached a $100,000 settlement in 2006 with the church in New Jersey. The New York Times reported this summer he was himself removed amid allegations of inappropriately touching minors and has not responded to efforts by the Post to be interviewed. The Post and other outlets this summer quoted several clerics who said they'd alerted the Vatican about rumors of misconduct against Carrick, which have been on conservative blogs and those of several anti-abuse advocates for decades. The unanswered questions has been who in the Vatican knew what. What's new in Vigno's letter is his allegation that Pope Benedict knew of the allegation and sometime in 2009 or 2010 had ordered McCarrick to halt behaving as a priest in public life and to dedicate himself to a life of prayer and penance. Vigno said he was told this by a high-ranking Italian cleric, Cardinal Gavanti Battisteri. I don't know. I think I butchered that. But at the time, Vigno was a delegate within the Secretary of State's office working with the Vatican embassies around the world. He says in his letter that his job included examination of delicate cases, including those regarding cardinals and bishops. Vigno, who was sent to Washington reportedly as punishment in 20. Someone's snoring a lot now. Let's see if I can kind of move that a little further away.
No, he's not like that. It's seriously kind of cute, but okay.
Yeah, okay.
No, because we know the
better.
pheasant's there. It's awesome. He's part of the chat.
Yeah. So where was I? Was sent to Washington reportedly as delegate embassies around the world. He said his letter job included examination of delicate cases, including those regarding cardinals and bishops. Vigno was sent to Washington reportedly as punishment in 2011 and was there until May 2016. He arranged a hugely controversial meeting between Francis and an American woman, Kim Davis, who had lost her job as a municipal clerk for refusing to issue marriage license to same-gender couples. Allies of Francis alleged he set up the Pope during a high-profile U.S. visit and that Francis didn't intend to affirm Davies's case. The letter also includes an allegation against D.C.'s current Archbishop McCarthy's immediate successor, Cardinal Donald Wuerl. Wuerl is a close ally of Francis and is already under scrutiny following a grand jury report in Pennsylvania about a clerical child sex abuse. And in Pennsylvania, an alleged cover-up. Wuerl for years led the Diocese of Pittsburgh. Vigano is vague in the allegations against Wuerl. He says it is unthinkable that the previous Vatican ambassadors to D.C. hadn't told Wuerl. Wuerl's spokesman, Ed McFadden, Saturday denied the report. Cardinal Wuerl was never informed of any action taken by the Holy See, was never provided documentation of any kind. If the claim that Cardinal Wuerl was made aware of this so-called suspension, he was never made aware of that. McFadden said he repeated Wuerl's previous statement that the Cardinal didn't know of allegations against McCormick nor of the legal settlements by adult accusers that came out this summer. No, he never. He knew nothing until the formal announcement this summer that a substantiated claim had been made. Victims of and Catholics around the world have been demanding more transparency from Pope Francis and the Church in general, and that clerics who cover up for priest abusers be held accountable. The letter says Francis most honestly state when he first learned that the crimes committed by McCarrick, who was abused his authority with the seminaries and priests. McCarrick's attorney, Barry Coburn, Sunday morning declined to comment. The accusations came from Francis, made high-profile trip to Ireland. The accusations came as Francis, yeah?
I was just going to say, he's obviously got smarter lawyers than Trump, because they chose to stay quiet.
Yeah. Well, and Trump's lawyers haven't taken his cell phone away. The accusations came as Francis made a high-profile trip to Ireland, a country that has been deeply scarred by generations of church-related abuse. The failure of I can't say that flipping word.
Where are we? I wasn't actually watching the text.
Almost at the here. I'll post it in the page.
The failure of ecclesiastical authorities, bishops, religious superiors, priests, and others.
Yes, to adequately address the repugnant crimes had rightly given rise to outrage and remains a source of pain and shame for the Catholic community. Francis said on Saturday to start a 2-day trip. I myself share these sentiments. Petriel reported from Mauna, Italy. Burstein report from Washington. Zoe Zimmerman contributed, and that's
then
it.
we're done. Seriously, before we go into the actual discussion, do you think you'd be reading like a 2,000-word essay when you volunteer to
No.
read?
No. especially with no coffee left.
No, you pulled it off like a trooper. You just like powered through it. I was amazed. Halfway through, I was like, God damn, we're only halfway through. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, and I'm out of coffee, and I'm out of water.
That's just unacceptable. I'm still full of beer.
Okay, I'll bring Josiah back into the conversation here. It was just getting hard with him snoring so loudly on the trying to read that. Thank you.
So oh, sorry, you're right.
Yeah, go ahead. I just said thank you to Snail.
I know. I was watching. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Because that was a great reading. You did really good.
I need more liquid.
No,
go ahead.
No,
you read. I'm on search for liquid. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab a bottle of water.
Okie dokie. The content of the actual reading though, like it's really disturbing to see, and I mean, the Catholic Church is obviously such a larger and more organized just organization than what I'm familiar with, and I was already in horror at the atrocities, very similar atrocities that went on within the Jehovah's Witnesses. So I mean, if it shocks me enough. Like, I understand that my parents personally probably haven't even, or I mean, my mum and my little brother, who are in the Witnesses still, they probably haven't heard of the atrocities being within the Witnesses. They've heard of the Catholic Church stuff because it's such a big news event and it's such a big church. I couldn't imagine somebody that's just an everyday Catholic going to church on a Sunday who hears of this in the news and still wishes to ignore it,
Oh, yeah. I agree with what I heard. and that's better now. I'm a little less parched.
Yeah, well, after that bloody reading, I don't that would have fudged you up a little bit.
Yeah, it's all good. Like I said, it's like kind of screwy, the whole situation. It's like, how do you not say something? Like, how do you not how do you just say, okay, here, stop being bad and do penance? Well, what kind of a punishment is that? Like, it's not.
And it goes, well, this goes within the whole covering it up thing because it keeps it within the church. Your punishment stays within the church. So.
Yeah, and
Oops,
yeah, and it's like just so. And even within that church, it's not even punished. They're not even getting punished. Like, how is penance punishment? Yeah.
No, here Snails says that her relatives are mostly Catholic and they aren't hearing it. They're actively tuning it out without realizing it. And that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because with the dubs, I know if they come up in the news, my mum will her ears will be wired for it, and she'll take it in and she will have already been told some excuse as to justify it around it before the news hits. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, does that happen within the Catholic Church as well?
Well, I would be sure it
I'm
does. Like it's no different than J-Dubs tuning out the JW stuff. You know, it's Catholics tuning out the anti-Catholic stuff, just like the J-Dubs tune out the anti-J-Dub stuff.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't surprise me in any way. Because it's you know, so we don't want to hear it, so we don't hear it. It's just the way we are.
You just even when it's not an active ignoral of it, ignorance of
Yeah.
it, it's it's sort of passive that
Yeah.
it happens. Sort of hardwired that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. We're just kind of sort of the way it is. It's
What was
it's
I
a
doing?
sin to say it. It's a sin to say it that it's kind of this is the way it is, but it is the way it is. You
Well,
know,
for now,
it
for now
sucks.
it is. Yeah. Till we
Yeah.
can, and that's the whole idea, is ultimately to break enough people away that these things start dying. These organizations.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of, the whole thing sort of sucks, I think. It's just kind of like, you know, it like it as, it doesn't, like, as an atheist, it doesn't make any sense to me how people can just ignore stuff like that. Like, just, you know, okay, you know, it happens here, but it doesn't happen here. Well, it's all the same. It's all the same. You know, they don't realize that a church by a different name is still a church.
Yep,
A Catholic
that's
by a
pretty
different
much
name
it.
is still a Catholic. You know, and it's yeah, it's frustrating and kind of, you know what I'm trying to say, right? It's like, it's just, it's almost infuriating how people can just block out some stuff. Like, and I'm sure I'm not saying I'm any better, because I know I'm not. It's just,
Well, it's part
it's
of
like,
our. It's sort of
yeah,
it's part of human nature, or it's part of our brain's wiring, really. But
yeah,
it's more about what we're doing it to. Like
yeah,
whether it's something that's actually an important factor or not. And a lot of the time we don't
yeah,
realize the importance of some things. Like, a lot of religious people will take for granted the insignificance of the life they're wasting on being religious, because they are so
yeah, yeah.
hardwired to think that there's something more important.
Yeah, and that more important thing is after you die. Well, I don't know. It's pretty important to be alive while you're alive. You know, it's
Absolutely,
you
I
know,
reckon.
yeah, and it's for so many, including JWs, it's not about this life. It's about the next life,
And that's,
which gets me every
yeah,
separate time. You know, to
makes it really
every
hard.
separate time. Yeah,
So they ignore the reality of not just what's good now, but also what's going wrong now. Whether it's
yeah,
outside of them or themselves, something that they should be working,
yeah,
like, towards a health
yeah,
even,
yeah. Yeah,
Excuse me.
exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, on a positive note, the fact that all this information is coming out on the last couple of months and years shows just how much the power of the church is broken, and it's definitely broken, Snail. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
It
That's
is so
absolutely right.
broken. Excuse me. Sorry.
No, you're right.
Go
Um,
for a nap already. It's only 11, quarter after 11 in the morning for me.
no, you're,
And it's quarter to midnight for you.
I was gonna say I'll probably only got about 10 minutes and I'll let you go anyway. So, if that.
Yeah.
Um, on on the topic of the issue within the churches, because obviously it's the Catholics at the moment, but I'm specifically always thinking of the Dubs, where it's happening.
Yeah.
Very similar
Yeah.
story, almost the same. It's just not as big scale and it's not as organised. But
Yeah.
what if there is a resistance, which there will be, for the churches to change their doctrines to suit legal matters? What
Mhm.
would be the next step, do you think? Is it going in full force legally and like doing, because this isn't about the people, it's about the organisation not changing. You know, you can arrest the
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
new people will come in, they'll continue, but it's about forcing them
Yeah.
to change. If they refuse, what did we do?
Yeah, and that's the big question, is what happens if they don't change? And, if they don't change, nothing will change, and it'll just keep going on forever and ever. And, you know, um, I really think, with the well, you know my views. I'm an anti-theist. I'm an
No.
atheist and an anti-theist. And so, like, my views is let the churches burn and just go away altogether. But in that respect, people want something to follow. They want something to be their, like, be their guiding light, I suppose. But they don't, it's because they're so used to it. And for whatever reason, people need to have these whatever to follow. I'm A's, and I don't really see religion as going away anytime soon until people realize that they can have community, have this sense of um, community and wellness without following a religious thing, you know.
Yeah.
And until that happens, I really don't think anything's going to change. Like,
That's just
it's the church isn't, because the church is going to always be, they're going to be like, they're going to pretend to be more transparent, but
so
they don't have to be. There's nothing by law making them be transparent,
it's literally
you know?
it'll be about that one by one, you know, working each faithful person in their own way until we
Yeah.
counter that weight balance, which is the power of the churches themselves.
Yeah, that's the way I see it,
Yeah.
because, you know, the the church and the pedophilia problem and the church abuse problem has been around for years. This is not anything new, any way, shape, or form. When I was a kid,
This
this shit
is
was going on, and you'd hear it once in a while.
where
So,
Snail's point comes into hand, because she's like, it could be classed as legally as a criminal organisation, and I kind of agree. If it was taken, as you say, in
yeah,
combination of its histories, not even going back more than
yeah,
100 years, just that last
yeah.
century, you
Well,
could
like, I'm 40 odd
argue
years
that.
old, so so yeah, it's not going to, but that's not going to happen.
It's the
with
money and the
within the
like.
church,
They
it's
are
the money and the
one of
power
the most amazingly richest, powerful organizations there are in this
organization,
world.
and it's
You know,
it's
you
in
would
their
only,
best interest. Yeah,
yeah, it would take
yeah,
some of the other biggest organizations to pull together with their money to counter them legally, and even then,
yeah,
most of them are run by religious folk, so it won't happen.
yeah,
Even if they're not the
exactly.
same
And
religion, they're not going to do it.
the religious folk will band together because it's in their best interest to not have religion not be a
And
tax
then
shelter,
you have
to
a
not, to be,
then you have a
they've got
whole
to,
war of a different type.
yeah, exactly. And like the tax sheltering of needs to go. They need to be able to open their books. They need to be able to be accountable, and not just financially, but legally accountable. And until that happens, because they are not. And until that happens, there's nothing going to change.
Yeah.
Good morning, KC.
Hey, how you doing, KC?
Yeah. Yeah, and the church isn't going to lose all that power. They're not going to let it. They're not going to let it go. Jag? Is Jag here?
Who? Ja. Oh, no, Ja. He
KC
meant to say
says
Ja.
Jag.
No, he's trying to say, yeah, he
Yeah,
misspelled
nah.
it, obviously.
Oh, Ja. Okay. I'm like, Jag. Jag's not here.
Who's Jag? Oh, Jag.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, Dag.
Jag. Yeah.
Jag.
That's who I was thinking he was saying, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't call him Jag.
Ja.
That's fair enough.
Ja makes sense though, instead of Jag. Yeah. So yeah, that's my take on it. Like, until all religion loses the power that they have. Like, I mean, the tax sheltering, the non-accountability and stuff like that, that until they lose all that, where they need to be accountable, they need to be paying taxes, and they need to be doing all this stuff, until that happens, things aren't going to change, because then it's going to cost them.
A really good point
a
really good point that was brought up in I can't actually remember what stream it was the other day, maybe last week, but it was an OGI was in it. Might have been one of GI's. God, that might have been this weekend. Fuck if I know. But he's pointed out that, and as most, well, a lot of people know, not everybody, is that when you tax them, they have the right to political sway. Like, then they have the right to govern your vote, or be a vote in your political system. And it was Holy Kool-Aid that was pointing out that the current government already do that to an extent, which is perfectly valid as well. Yeah. And it's a hard one to judge what would be worse. But nonetheless, it's still, as you said, with good I don't know if you said regulations, but with good regulations, it could be done with taxation. Like if it was done properly.
Well, besides the taxation and stuff like that, having to open their books, having to be like public entities, then they're if they're having to pay taxes, they're having to give up some of that money. They're having to also be accountable, so that when they do shit that's wrong, they can be held accountable, because you can go in and you can look at those books and you can do all that. You can look at all that kind of stuff, and that's I don't know. I think the trade-off
is, along with that, is continuing along with the separation of state and church, is that if they have these rights, they can have freedoms as a commercial business, but not any religious freedoms. So anything to do with their doctrine, they can't bring into legislation. Anything to do with commercial, something they would bring up as if there were a store or something, they can bring up. But the moment it brings up anything doctrinal, that's not to be accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Because like having that, sure, they might be able to say to their followers then to vote this way or vote that way, but with that separation, it needs to be everything needs to be separated. There needs to be a law brought up that, okay, you're going to be taxed this much. You cannot promote politics in church, and you cannot promote church in politics. You can do both if you like, but they have to be separate. You cannot do it in the same building. There's got to be some kind of, I don't know what the solution would be, but smarter people than me need to figure that part out.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's what actual politicians are for, not Donald Trump.
Well, politicians, yeah. No, I said smarter people than me. Because the majority of politicians aren't.
You'd be surprised.
I don't think the majority.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
there
I
is
would be
this.
surprised, but still, if they don't appear to be very
It's because they
bright
don't get
most
voted
of the
in.
time. Yeah,
Because they're
yeah,
the
the
ones
bright
that
people don't
don't
get
get the
voted in.
yeah they don't get the money, they don't get the attention, and
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem. We humans are stupid and follow the follow the
sometimes you're on.
idiots.
Oh, maze.
What?
Oh
What?
god, my
What? What?
wife
What?
thinks I show up too early. Sometimes I'm on time. Wink. God damn. Hey, Chaos. God damn it, I gotta
Morning
go.
chaos.
You can't all start showing up when I have to go to bed. That's not cool. You were all meant to rock up an hour ago when I started. What's wrong with you? I'm gonna go to work in the morning, don't you know?
I know.
Well,
Chaos, are you gonna make it to my stream today? I am going to be. I'm
it's
not
Sunday.
sure.
Chaos has no
It's
excuse.
yeah. Well, no, Chaos does helps people, so
Oh,
they
oh,
have
good
they
on
have
you,
a really good
buddy.
excuse.
Good on
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So they make it sometimes for the book stream that I do on Sundays. Sometimes
Oh,
they don't. They
gotta
did
let the
it last
puppy out.
Sunday.
Won't be a
So
second. Keep him
okay,
amused.
sure. So yeah, Chaos, are you gonna make it on at 2? Well, it's 2:30 Central. Is it? No, it's noon Central. 2:30 my time. Because I was going to do Lovecraft. I'm not sure which one. I was thinking about an hour. Not today. Ah. Okay. Well, I was gonna do Lovecraft, so you can I guess listen later if you like. Won't be nearly as fun. 12:30 Central, or no, sorry, 12 Central. 2:30 my time is when it's going to be. So, yeah. I'll be sending out a link on Twitter and that
Twitter.
for it. It's on my and Twitter. It's on my craft channel. And just grabbing the link. Creations by Nadine.
Oh,
Creations
I
by
actually,
Nadine.
I actually have an announcement to make, which is so
Oh,
rare to be able to do. Because my
nice.
channel, nothing ever really happens till I just upload shit. But
Well, of course.
I have been working really hard at organising an interview with a former Scientologist known as Chris Shelton. He's been involved
Mm.
in a fair few of the anti-Scientology documentaries. Like he was in the BBC documentary, and I have an interview with him this following, well, pretty much tonight or this morning or whatever. What time is it there, Nadine? Morning, isn't it?
Oh, okay. It'll be
No,
2 o'clock in Nova Scotia time.
fuck.
What time? What time is your? What time's
It's
your
my no wait. It's my
meeting?
Sunday morning, and it means it's their
At
Saturday night. So your Saturday night, roughly.
yeah.
I
What
can't tell you
time Sunday
exactly what
morning is it
time
for
it'll
you?
be for them. It'll be
Oh,
my
okay.
9 a.m. Sunday, Eastern
Sunday. So
Australia.
it'll
Eastern
be
Australia, Americans.
so that'll be 9. It's either 9 or 10 Saturday night. Eastern. I
Yeah,
can't
okay.
remember which one, but yeah, it'll.
Just in the plan works out, if you're in Denver time, it should be 5 o'clock. God damn it, I hope it's
Yeah,
5 o'clock
that's
anyway.
that's Mountain Time. That's Mountain Time.
Right. As long as all that works out, I'm happy.
And so that's 5 p.m. Saturday Central or Mountain Time. So yeah. Denver's in Mountain.
Are you double checking my math?
Yeah. Well, if you said it's supposed to be his time at 5 p.m., right? Is what he said. It should be Mountain. Yeah. I can double check your math.
Yeah, that would be actually quite nice, because if I'd fudged that up, that'd be quite embarrassing. But yeah, that'll be hopefully Saturday evening, night, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's quite exciting for moi, because I have been following the Scientology thing for years now, well before I lost my own faith. And it didn't necessarily have much to do with it either. It was something I had going on anyway, where I wanted to
give me a big city in the same time zone that you're in.
Brisbane's close. Queensland.
Brisbane. Okay. So right now it's 11 p.m. for you?
12.
No. Okay. It says it's 11 p.m. Brisbane right now.
They don't normally always get it right.
Eastern time zone. West. Yeah, apparently this one they didn't. No. Okay, so
because a lot of the time they'll do the same time as Sydney, because it's the same looking time zone, and they have daylight savings.
Yeah. So right now it's 7 a.m. and it's midnight there, right? So it's 10 p.m. for you, 5 p.m. or 10 a.m. for you, and 5 p.m. for them. I don't. Frig it. I'm gonna bring up my spreadsheet.
God damn it.
God
Either
damn
way,
it.
I've got to get there early.
Be,
I have to wake up.
Either way, and I'll have the time zones correct too. So let's see.
But that either way,
okay.
it might happen late, but it'll happen, and it'll be awesome when it happens.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the conversation will be on leaving and what to do after leaving a cult. So it'll be really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mountain Time, it'll be 9 a.m. for you. It's 5 p.m. for them. Denver, Colorado. Says 8 a.m. for me, or 8 a.m. for Calgary is 12 a.m. Now I'm double checking my spreadsheet because it looks wrong. No, it's right. Okay.
Thank you, Chaos.
Yeah, no, we're good. Yeah, so it's 5 p.m. for him. It's 9 a.m. for you.
Good. I'm glad I got that right. And yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous. I got the whole butterflies going on when I finally got it organized. Because yeah, I've just been sort of watching this dude for a long time, and it's really exciting to finally get to have a chat with him.
Yeah, not just having a fanboy.
This is exactly right. It's not just that. It's actually going to be an important chat. It's a productive chat, and it's something that is, where there's a real connection there. Because I'd heard the connection between the Dubs and the Scientology before, and I never saw it. I was still so stubborn towards it. Yet, now it's just like, God, how did I miss it? So it's something really that I'd like to hopefully flesh out with him and work on
for
what
sure.
he knows,
For sure. Like it's it's easier for you to see the differences when you're not, or the similarities when you're not in that thing. Like as an outsider, I look at all these different religions and stuff, and their doctrines, and to me, everything, they're all the same, every single one of them. But you can't, like, when you're invested in it, you don't see that. You don't
And
see it when you're invested.
that a lot goes towards what the dubs, the way they can squirrel their way
Yeah,
out of so many arguments that people have, or
exactly.
they'll never take what Dawkins says as
Exactly.
attacking them, because it almost never touches on their actual beliefs very specifically, and
Yeah.
they have such weird specific beliefs that you really have to be
Yeah,
attacking them
exactly.
specifically,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and
like
they use
that's
that
why.
against other religions too, because they can
Yeah.
always have, oh, it's not like this, it's really like this, don't you know, and they'll give
Yeah.
you some bullshit. And
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing though, you can you what was it? Iowan did that tweet where it was the Muslim thing where you changed something
yeah,
Catholic to
change
Muslim,
some, yeah.
and if you change that little thing, it's exactly what they say, but the people don't see it that way. You change this little thing, like the actual name of the religion, and
I was gonna say, just
the
like
people of that religion don't see that it's talking about them. Like they don't
a
see that.
little thing, the change of the religion was a great point of what I was going to say, which is a big thing. The name of the religion,
Yeah.
that would be a huge thing. And that's the sort
Yeah.
of thing that they do with the witnesses, and they call it New Light, and it's like humongous changes, and they just take it hook, line, and sinker. See you,
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thanks for
Yeah.
dropping in and stuff. That's great.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, no, like I said, just changing one word is a little change, but it's like people's got that blocks there, and as soon as you say something negative and it ends up being about their religion, it's like poof, it's gone. But
And
you
what it
say
is
it
that
about a,
it's that they take it personally, because about their religion is about their life. And that's the thing. If it was
yeah,
about their
exactly.
religion was about their taste in food, or if about their religion was
Yeah.
their fashion or whatever other thing, it'd be for them easy to change. But this is something that is
Yeah.
ingrained in them,
Yeah.
for a lot of people
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And just changing it so that it's about a different religion is enough to make them see, but it's not enough to make them see it's about their religion. It's really weird. It's a weird psychological thing. Like it's quite interesting looking at it as an outsider kind of thing. It makes you wonder how that block happens. Like
Even in the first place,
it's
even when it's, especially when
yeah,
it's not born into, so to speak. You grew up in it.
yeah,
There are some people that will
yeah,
fall into it through tragedy or whatever other life effects, and
yeah, yeah,
will be just
yeah,
as
exactly. And
succumb to it.
exactly, and it's interesting to think about the psychology behind all that kind of stuff. But
Absolutely.
I just noticed I kept talking more than I probably should have, because
And
it's
it's
like
probably about that
past your
time.
bedtime.
Yep. It
Yep.
was about right. Chaos is
I
off, and I might
I
have to do the
blew.
same. Oh, Blue, your timing is unfortunate. Your morning, my morning now too. It's about bedtime though. Different side of the
Yeah.
morning for me. So unfortunately, if you want to catch it, you might have to catch it in the old VOD squad for me. Hashtag VOD squad for anybody that decides to rock up. That will be a hashtag that I love. If you do a hashtag VOD squad, I will be all over your comment. And for
Okay.
those uninitiated, VOD squad is VOD squad, video on demand. That means that you've been one of those awesome people who have watched this after the live show, and you're watching the stream later, you know. So you guys, you have extra love from me because that means you have some serious commitment, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Dave is one of you. Dave, love you, mate. Why weren't you here tonight, motherfucker? We had a good night. Anyway, everyone,
Absolutely.
thank you kindly for showing Maze and Snail especially. Chaos as well, you were here too. And Young Blue, I'm so sorry I'm bailing on you. It just must be your timing. Sorry, not tonight. I'm literally buggering off right now. It's a bit late for me. I got work in the morning. But you guys have a great day. You have a wonderful Sunday. Yeah, it's exactly not job
Absolutely.
bedtime.
Yep.
KC as well, if you're still here, buddy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, sorry, Blue. Next time, mate.
Yeah.
Make sure to check out Creations by Nadine. Also check out An Atheistic Snail's Journey.
Yeah.
They have just popped out of the blue and decided to say hello again, and they're my spousey. So if you don't, I mean, if you love me, you got to love them. There's no question there.
Yeah.
Who else should I shout out? Anyone else? Did I shout out me? Oh yeah, no, my thing. Make sure to come check me out on y'all's Saturdays evening, Arvo night, wherever it
Yep.
is. I've got an interview with ex-Scientologist Chris Shelton, which would be fucking amazing.
It'll be around 5 p.m. Mountain.
Thank you, Nadine. And yeah,
You're
otherwise, everyone have a. Oh wait, do you have any call out sign? Anything you say before you end? I don't know if you do.
No, visit my channels. I'm having a book club today at noon Central. Probably HP Lovecraft. Yay. Okay.
Yay! All
Have
right.
fun. See you guys. Subscribe
Well,
to everybody.
I wonder if I can get this right. I'm your imaginary underworld apostate, NotJah